Your eyes speak more than your words do. Listen to your vision and compassionately go through the rubble, which ends up being the reference point to your greatest definition of joy in this life. All lows are pointing up. Our downs are, all ups are pointing down. And similarly, we see that ratio, that relationship is very present in life. There is no such thing as perfection when the idea of perfect is always trying to change or is always changing. We have a static process and we have a dynamic process. A dynamic process can't be even talked about because we're in the dynamic process. The static process is how the dynamic view is looking at its staticness. In other words, it is a co-creation, as if there was the sun god and the moon god. If night and day held hands, if you see that there is always this relationship in life. And sometimes if you're too distracted by watching TV or being entertained by some other source of what you find is the greatest decision of human civilization, and that is slightly sarcastic, but I really want to share that the person who came up with the idea of meditation, the Buddha, has a quote that says, meditation is just how a Buddha sits. In other words, when you meditate, you're not in the same state of consciousness as you are, when you're with someone else. You see, you're not here to change you. It's not a superpower. It's not, even though it does affect the physical to that degree to create a supernatural effect. However, meditation is to look into your own eyes, to really sit down and see what existence is about. It is not something you need to do. It is not an interesting, cool idea. It is literally the first thing you should do in your life. Before you decide to become a billionaire, you should see, okay, who's here? What am I alive? And then you experience that your intelligence is just not limited to your name, your personality, and everything else that name and personality creates. It is an experiential existence, and you realize, similar to how you would realize if you had a cluttered room and a not cluttered room, how certain ideas are. Not everyone has the best reflection or the best understanding of some ideas. And that's true because we are separate viewpoints again. So how can all these different people come together? Well, let's see what we have common. Oh, human beings. We are human before we have ideas. So we need to value humanity before ideas. We should not let ideas generate a culture that is not healthy for the human race. Being healthy means you have balance in many areas of your life. However, this balance is not a regular balance. You need to understand it's not measurement. We're not creating units of your life here. We're simply saying that you are present here. Now, before you thought about the idea of time, how were you looking at life? When you ask that question, you realize that some ideas are exceptionally convincing that we feel we don't need to look at them anymore. We need explorers of experience in this life. You need to go explore experiences and communicate its efficiency, an efficient method. You need to be at your lowest point to even understand what needs to evolve about humanity. For someone who is born in the hardest place in life, they are being given the wonderful task to evolve that area of people. When you think about your effect on your environment, you realize that lawsuits are ridiculous suits that we never had to wear. However, because of the natural imbalance of the ape mind, we do not have full trust in how much each human being can control himself. You see, you need to live a natural life. What does that mean? That doesn't mean go listen to what your grandparents were telling you about life before the culture you're in now. This means that examine what is going on. See what is there. And seeing what is there requires an existential view. That moment before you know how to speak, to look at what's happening in the situation. When you look like that, then you might choose to become a monk who sees that people are not living wonderful lives. So we need to help raise the consciousness so that they become creators in their own process. And I might be creating a long bridge here, but the gentleness you have with things shows how well the picture is going to be drawn in your life. If you're an angry person, you are scribbling everywhere, And it might pass for a very interesting, emotional, abstract piece, but it is not necessary. When you recognize gentleness, you literally lose less energy. You have more focus if you are not distracted or bothered by ideas to put your attention to on the day. This doesn't mean ignorant. This means be aware of them, but let them be. Your attention, or the human being's attention, usually goes in the area they want to change. Movement is change. So we are dynamic, changing things. The cells in your body don't always remain. They change. They have a resemblance based on scientific knowledge to star dust. Stars are literally present in our conception of an atom. Therefore, it goes on to a degree where it reaches emptiness. And that is where humanity can be very convinced based on Newton's laws on physical reality. However, what we can't see, we can't believe. See, the problem is not you should believe it when you see it. The problem is, how are you seeing it? How are you seeing it? Are you paying attention to what you are existentially, what you are as existence? Or are you stuck in the best definition of who you can be based on a cultural phenomena? See, you have a life where you're born, you go through a growth process, and you go back towards the grave. So you're always changing. There's a changing process, right? Now, in a world that changes, to keep us static, to keep ourselves static, to say that we're only one thing, we're only one viewpoint, is a chaotic idea. The end result of the greatest conviction and certainty you can have will only be its more destruction. You're so certain that you never needed to be certain. On the other hand, for those who perhaps have been listening to my videos, or perhaps are just stumbling upon it for a random reason or for a certain reason, or with whatever alignment. Regardless of that, my eyes are very excitedly and wondrously trying to look at the beautiful experience that is life. And my evaluation, even though I do understand how financial systems function and how our technology is progressing very, very sharply, I can understand how technology is progressing and where it might be even in 100 years. However, regardless of all those, I choose to not sit at the table, which may evolve into the table of academics so certain about their knowledge that they have to label themselves academics, or come to a certain degree where I stop the stories that that are going on in my life, literally stop my stories and come and sit on the grass. Literally, based on the evolution we have in our understanding, take a step back and see what environment I evolved from. When you look at life and nature, you see that the intelligence there was different. Go see the experience that was different on all your levels of humanity. And at the same time, remember, as I've been saying, humanity is a changing process. So every moment is your evolution. Explore your evolution immensely. Do not bring back some part of your vaguely memorable past and try to add that to the evolution that's going on now. No, be very present. When you're present, and what you, in my mind, in my view, of course there's many views on meditation, but in my view, what you receive from meditation and self-reflection with all that literally exists, you stop and see the movement rather than moving and seeing all these stops that you don't want to have or you don't want to go to. When you cut the noise, literally, and deactivate your social media and stop, not stop being in the culture, but literally spending more time in nature than in, let's say, social settings of very high fluctuation in regards to human value, literally how people literally come beside one another and have so many different fluctuations on what is right and what is wrong. Regardless of that, you can be aware of that, but when you interact with nature, you realize it's as if when you are very distracted and depressed, or when you're stressed, you literally have like it's like having 1,000 people tap you on the shoulder. Literally, your mind cannot hold that imbalance. So if you go to nature where there is not that much outcome which is trying to affect how you should be now, there is less restriction, you're literally free and you flow with the energy of nature. All the greats did it, Mozart, Beethoven. I mean, back in the day before TV was made, people would get out in the morning and go literally see what's happening outside. So as you do that, there is an engagement with life that many are forgetting today. And that is to be very present in the moment and to really be able to hear people because you don't have judgment in the past. When you have judgment in the past, the judgment in your past is always trying to say something to the future. You're always trying to make plans based on your past. I am saying, be in the present and make plans based on your future. Acknowledge the past for the platform it has brought you on. But after that, walk and expand your experience of life. Don't keep your experience limited to a certain range of human wavelength and balance. In a world where we're changing, survival is a self-conceived idea of balance. Our balance is really our understanding of both imbalance based on what is balanced. We need to understand, we need to see the field rather than just run in it. And when we see the field, we see that our goals are not, or were not before, that perfect. But now it is as if we've been thinking about some ideas wrong way too long. Literally, some human beings have been thinking ideas, and the ideas have been passed down because there was limited self-reflection, and these ideas are still remaining here. Why are we still in a world where we have the idea of racism? Morgan Freeman said, you want to stop racism, stop talking about it. So literally, why is that idea still around? Why is not humanity acknowledging its intelligence existentially and then mentally, or in whatever structure or format our subtler thought realities can give us, Creativity, in my view, when I tell people I'm a creative person, creativity, in my view, is creation. So you, being a creative person, you are creating. Wait, if you are creating something, for example, as a creative person, who created you? And do you want to believe a story about this? Do you want to, examine a science report about this? Or do you really want to go see what you are as creation? Now, people who there's many people, some people read the science report, some people don't even know about it. They literally don't know about it. And some people are aware of it but don't have the right values of it. So when that occurs, self-reflection still needs to be present in people's life. We need mirrors for our body, literally. We go and look at the mirror, or we go look at a pond, or we wait for the ripples and some kind of sink to stop and look at ourselves, Regardless of where we look at ourselves, when we fluctuate in a way where we want to look at our ideas, you have to bring stillness into your life. You literally have to sit still to receive a very moving idea. You have to sit still to catch the shooting star. When you sit still, you're hearing more because you're less distracted. Stillness and the quiet, and what is meditation fundamentally, is you're getting rid of all distractions. And a lot of distractions could be from your past ideas of the past, your past ideas of whatever you experienced. So in other words, as you sit down, and literally don't try to sit like some monk in a monastery, literally be comfortable, become comfortable. Sit in the most comfortable way your body can. Literally, if I told you sit very comfortably, buddy, how would you sit down? Literally sit like that. And then after you have all the distractions that are bothering your physical body, then relax your breathing. Literally pay attention to your breathing. Just let it flow naturally. Sometimes we're not breathing properly in the day. It's a natural process. Align it. As you get rid of distractions, a greater sense of alignment is coming with you paying more attention to your body. So after you pay attention to your body, now after you've completely relaxed your physical presence, now look at your day. Look at the ideas that are in your mind and see how gentle they are. See how you acknowledge them. See how afraid you are. Examine self-reflect. Don't do anything, but just be aware. Just be aware. What am I thinking about? And be aware of those thoughts. And as you become aware of those thoughts, you understand things about yourself. Observance means that if I am sitting at a table and talking to some people in a very, let's say, engaged way, too engaged for my good, that I notice that when I step away from that scene, I can observe that scene much better. I can recollect. Our memory is the gift of the day for us to see how much we did in the day. As you let the noise present itself, but at the same time, be very calm, you notice that you're okay without the noise. You're okay without having to speak. And that is a very important thing for someone to be comfortable with. Patience is valuable because a patient person is like an eagle that is flying higher and seeing more, getting more vision of the place. Action is also very important. So inevitably, patience must integrate with action to become vision. And as that occurs, our minds are our physical apparatus present in a certain wavelength of experience. As that wavelength of experience fluctuates, we recognize that we are still able to be aware in other subtler realities that we can only experientially be certain about. If you don't believe any idea, or if you don't believe any ideas about something, then it should be possible for you not to believe any ideas about yourself. In other words, if someone asks you, what do you believe about wooden chairs? You're like, I don't have a belief. I don't have an idea. How is it that that is valid? But when you look at yourself, you have to have an idea. This is you, this is me, this is whatever, right? Mental clutter is very bad when it's passed down generation from generation. We need to clear this mental clutter and understand the value of immediate experience, the value of attention, the value you perceive yourself now. If I told you how are you now? Literally, if I came up to you and said, how are you, buddy? You would literally think about how you are, right? That would be a present moment. You're seeing what you are. That's self-reflection. You're like, I'm okay, I'm here, I'm whatever, right? Now, you need to develop certainty outside of the noise. How could you be certain about life if there was literally no words to communicate to you what science is? What would you know about life if you literally didn't read a book, nothing, you were just alive? Let's say you were in another generation. You would explore life experientially. That is important. That is what meditation brings into awareness through self-reflection. That you need to go experience your life. You don't need to think about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, how you felt, how whatever, you need to go experience your life. It is an experiential process. Life is an experiential process. You need to understand that even though you're thinking about something, that is experience, but it is a certain limited wavelength of experience. Don't just experience thoughts about life, experience life. And then you'll explore thoughts as well. Sorry? Yeah, I'm pretty fine. Yeah, I'm actually pretty